Hey guys, how you doing? Thought I'd do a quick little stream here. I want to talk about something that I feel is really important that I don't think is talked about enough, and it kind of irks me, and it's a big foundation about why I do what I do. I could be doing my channel better, and I'm trying to work at it. But right now, I just started streaming. I don't have anyone probably coming into it. That's fine. Uh, Basically, I titled it "How to Always Be Right About Everything," and you're like, "Whoa, this is clickbait," but really, it's not. Like, I was talking to someone last night on the phone, and it got me to want to talk about something that really is the title got me. Let's roll. Hey Odin, how you doing? That's really been has always been on my mind, and it upsets me that people are not like this. It makes me kind of emotional because a lot of people fight over stuff that they're wrong about. And how can we stop being wrong? I'm not Peterson. I'm not Jordan Peterson. I don't have a degree in psychology. But it's going to be really hard. I might pause a lot because I'm trying to come up with the words to express what I'm thinking, and it's kind of difficult for me. But I'll just start with last night. I was having this conversation with a person. I'm like, why don't you like to hang out with people? Why don't you like hanging out with people? And I don't get along with a whole lot of people. Probably because of my childhood. I was abused mentally and physically, and it caused certain issues for me not want to get along with too many people. I guess I don't know. It caused me to have something called impulsivity, which pretty much says I say or do things sometimes without thinking. It's gotten better, but it's always been a real issue for me. But even though I went through some stuff as a child, there's one thing that I've never conformed. Like, I've never been religious, okay? And yeah, you see me debating religion a lot and such, and because I think it's wrong for people. I think it's wrong for people to be religious. Like, how can I phrase what I'm trying to say? If you think you're there are people who are religious, right? They think they're right. But when they're told they're wrong, what do? They have one of these, right? Like, if you're told you're wrong, you have one of these. You can use this. But people don't do that. They don't, when they're told they're wrong about something, they don't go looking for the answer. They just find ways to argue about how they're right even when they're wrong. I don't do that. And you shouldn't either. You want to always be right. You stop being wrong. And then you be right again. You're going to be wrong about a lot of things you believe in. Like, you believe that there is a God. If someone asks you, what is that? And you have no answer, maybe you should rethink what you believe, but you're not going to do that, are you? Because you don't try to find the answer. You're always trying to defend the beliefs you were brought up in, or that's not going to give you answers. We have the right, we have the left. People go into their certain camps, but the correct camp is not either one of those. If you pick and choose what makes the most sense, and if you're not working all the time on how to find out how you're wrong about something, then the information you present, I don't care what channel you belong to, is not going to be 100% correct. And if it's not 100% correct, and you're not actively trying to be 100% correct, is the information you're going to give on a specific topic going to be as good as it would have been had you had the correct information to begin with? I might not be the most knowledgeable person, but if I am told I'm wrong about something and I do something about it, doesn't that make me a better person to try to get the answers? Like, I'm not afraid to be wrong. If it means when I'm done being wrong, I'll be right again. Like, I will expand myself. I was looking at Sneako's channel right here, and he's doing some video with some rich people about, this is the world and this is how things really are. Do you really care about how things really are? Because if you did, shouldn't you get into the answers of everything you're talking about? Everything I talk about is not vast yet, but it's about the truth. I always try to get to the truth. Like, what is the truth? I've told you before, I'll say it again. Truth is a degree to which a statement corresponds with reality, right? How much do you believe in corresponds to reality? Do you believe in a God? No. And you might see me really get on, talk about religion a lot. It's the first stepping stone to, you want to have a good worldview, you've got to get rid of religion. You've got to stop believing in a God. These things do nothing but hold you back from being a better person. And if you think I'm wrong, how would you ever defend that? Like, how could you ever defend believing in something that's not true, that doesn't show to be true, something you can't even define? You have to be unafraid of moving forward and questioning that which you think is true, that doesn't show to be true. Someone tells you you're wrong, that, like, if someone tells me I'm wrong about something that I know I'm right about, then I'm like, you brush it off. You're like, hey, I believe in this because of X, Y, Z, and you can have that discussion, right, and show how you're right. But you can't go through life not questioning your beliefs. Everyone should have a purge process where you purge everything. If you have certain beliefs that you've always had from your parents, something, get a piece of paper, write down what those beliefs are, right? What are those beliefs that your parents pushed on you, and then on the other side, put down, why do you have these beliefs? Are they there just because your parents told you so? Because if you're on here, YouTube, trying to make an impact, trying to get your message out, if you're like, you want to represent reality as best as you can, because you're trying to say the truth, right? It should start with you. It all needs to start with you. Do I have the most reasonable beliefs? Am I a good person to represent, progression, right? And I can do topics of these people who are doing, they've got huge views. Will I ever have 800,000 subscribers? Probably not. I doubt it. I don't know. I don't know how to play the game yet. I kind of suck at it. But I have development that a lot of people on there do not have. I used to think Matt Dillahunty from Austin Atheist Group, from whatever the program's called that's escaping me right now. I used to think that guy's is the SHIT. He knows his stuff. He argues well. He knows a lot. But then he's a simp. He supports women even when it's against men. I mean, like, I'm like, who am I supporting? What if he is like this? Shouldn't he also be like this on this other topic? His logic and reason is not creeping over to other areas of his life. We're not doing purges of our own beliefs, and I think that's where it needs to start. We need to look at ourselves and be like, what do I believe in, not on good evidence? And how can I get rid of that? And how can I then approach how I'm going to do my content online with that? That's how we should be doing everything. And by doing that, we'll break free of these camps that everyone's trying to put us in. We don't belong to camps. We shouldn't belong to, a religion or the right or the left. These aren't going to help us with overcoming all the things we go through in life. Let's see here. What I have a person watching here. Let's see. Agree. People lack development of themselves and lack of being self-critical. Yes, self-critical, or what's it called? What's it also called? Introspection. Self-introspection is, I think, what they call it. Because it hurts to begin with. Over time, we start to see this Odin says this, we start to see the infancy in others where we once were. Yes, because maybe later on in life, we might change and look back at our younger selves and say, I can't believe I believed in that. But why not do that now? Why not start to question up? I just don't understand when someone's told they're wrong, they don't go do the work. Right? Because I know everyone who believes in a God is wrong. Like, I know this. Why? Because they don't even know what a God is. You ask them, they have no clue. So right off the bat, anyone who's online doing videos who believes in a God is wrong. They could be doing, but they're not using logic and reason as they should in that area of their life. And what other areas does that spill over into? And that's going to taint your ability to be realistic and to produce the best content possible. We need to get rid of all of our fallacious beliefs. We've got to. That's the only way to move forward. And what is this? The burden of logical enlightenment, my friend. Yeah, it's just, why am I having to do this kind of video? Like where are other videos like this? What? Are we all so busy with trying to find the next topic to cover and talk about it that we're not looking at ourselves. We're not using self-introspection. We're not curing you have to cure yourself of your inability to apply logic correctly in all areas of your life. That's your problem. Stop debating stuff where you already have a lot of self-improvement to go. Nobody should be online debating any. In a perfect world, no one should be online debating the existence of a God. Like, that shouldn't be happening. Like, we've conquered that 100 years ago. Like, we're done with it. Like, there's nothing to argue for or against. It's just a bunch of people who refuse to apply logic to that area of their life. They're defective. They're a little retarded. They're not capable. Like, I can understand debating something where something's not clear enough and you want to discuss it and pull the truth of it forward to get a better idea of it. But when you're so off base and you have imaginary friends that live in the sky, I'm sorry, that does not deserve debate. I do it, but it's like, I shouldn't have to do it. Like, why? Like, why are you so broken that you believe in stuff that's not true? What is wrong with you and your inability to research life and basic stuff? Like, you're retarded. Like, something's wrong with you. Like, find out the truth about your beliefs and use logic correctly. Stop using your own brand of logic, which is not even logic. It's just, I don't understand. I don't. So you're going to always be right by when someone tells you you're wrong and you have a slight argument about it. That kind of tells you, well, what? And if you don't have a firm grasp of why you're right, that tells you. But I guess that's the problem. People think they have a firm grasp, and they don't. So that's why you've got to write things out. Okay, someone told me I'm wrong about something. This is what I believe in, and over here I'm going to write how I know I'm right about it. Right? And is how I think I'm right about it, is that scientific? Is that logical? Is my basis for believing in something, does it make sense? Like abortion. Let's go. Why do you... Right? Yeah. It's like, why do you think abortion is wrong? Like, it's not your body. I said yesterday in my thing, and I'll say it again, she has to give initial and continued support. If we say you must have that child, you must have that potential child, okay, well then if someone is sick and dying and needs blood and only you have it, we have to make you give blood, right? Because we can't change how we do things for one thing but not another. We have to be consistent. So abortion should just be up to the person. You don't like it? I'm sorry. Then don't have an abortion. But you don't tell other people what to do with their bodies. And I know that sounds like a broken record. You might see me as, pro-feminist or whatever you want to say with that one little thing. But I support that because I support your right to do what you want. Right? Just like I should get my right to not have to pay for a woman's choice to have a baby with my sperm without my consent. I shouldn't have to pay for that for 18 years. I should be like, no, I'm out. Okay, someone else is asking me. I'll go ahead and respond to this because I appreciate you guys watching, and this video is about thinking properly and how to come to the truth. Right? And I think it's very important, so I will address other topics because and I'll take the angle that I'm taking with how I started this, and that's how we're going to go about it. Okay? So Trank Saul, sorry, some of your usernames I can't really pronounce them. Saw the name of video you just released, but I didn't watch it. What's your take on trans people? Okay. It's a very broad question. You weren't very specific, so I'll just answer it in the way that I think you asked, and I'll go ahead and respond. I think that trans people, a very small amount of people, less than 1%, but there's a lot of people who are trying to claim it, right? We're seeing way too many people trying to claim it and defend it. I'm starting to think that it's a group that people who generally feel disenfranchised from the populace are taking it just to feel important or special, whatever the case. I know that being trans is most likely a real thing. Like having gender dysphoria is probably a real thing. If you guys never see my left hand, it's because I use it to hold down the control key so the microphone works, because sometimes I'm playing video and I don't want the sound to come on the microphone, so I have to hold down the control button. I'm sure there's a better way of doing it. I probably need to have it on. I should probably just okay, whatever. Anyway, so I think that it's a very real thing. I think trans is a very real thing, and I think that gender dysphoria can happen in the brain. That's what we call a disorder, right? Because it's not something normal, correct? It's not the way the brain was supposed to function if we base it on the knowledge that we should procreate and things of that nature. yeah, it's not congruent with the healthy lifestyle that you should have. That's why disorder by medical definition means it causes some sort of stress, or it causes problems. So it's a very real thing. And I feel sorry for those people who have that. We can't cure it. And people get offended. Well, you want to cure it? Yeah, it's a disorder. Just like, and I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this as well. Homosexuality is a disorder as well, because it's not helping the procreation of the human. Nothing. I'm not saying it's wrong. If you're gay, that's fine. Like I'm not here to say that we should be negative towards those people. We should not be negative towards homosexuals or trans people, actual trans people. Like, we shouldn't. Like, they have a right to live their life and be happy and get a job and do everything they want to do, or they deserve to be left alone and accepted in society. They do. But let's talk about this for a second. If we had a scientific ability to determine if someone's going to be homosexual or trans before they're born and correct it, why wouldn't we do it? Would we do it? Would it make sense to do it? To give them a normal life free of the stress and all the BS that comes with those disorders. And I've found that a lot of people take offense to me calling something a disorder. Like, I call trans a disorder. I've been blocked. I've been banned. Hell, Reddit's banned me numerous times, just for having conversations about things. Right? It doesn't make sense. We should be able to have a conversation without someone being banned. And they call my talk hate speech. I'm not doing hate speech. I'm having a conversation about something. Right? I'm not saying that they're bad people. It's a disorder, and we should accept it and carry on. But don't make me think don't try to make me use your pronouns or role play with you. Because if you actually have that disorder, let's say you're a man. See, I hate to say born a man or biological man. I just say man, because that's what you are, right? I don't say biological female. I say female, because it's implied in the word that that's what you are. Is when I say female and male, I mean biological. So I'm not going to use those words. If you're a man and you have gender dysphoria, where you feel like you're a woman, you're still a man with a disorder, right? I don't think the answer is to chop yourself up and stuff. I think you need to come to grasp with what you have and realize that we can't fix it yet. We are not good enough in our science to be able to fix that. Because I bet you if we could fix that and you knew it, I bet you'd take it. All the crap you have to go through, I don't wish that on anyone. So there's my answer to that, trans. I hope that covers it for you. Let me see here. Okay. I'm reading something else from someone else. I can't pronounce their username. He says, imagine living in Eastern Europe and 90% of people in your country believe in God just because everyone else does. Yes! People believe in stuff because others do it. You want to conform. You become part of a camp. But society needs to be self-correcting. Like, we need to correct each other when we're wrong, right? Because what are we trying to do? We're trying to continue as our species. We're trying to become better, right? We want to do better. So what do? We correct each other. If we're wrong about something, we call it out. That's what we should be doing. We should be self-correcting. Before I was saying we are self-correcting. To a degree we are. But then people are like, oh, show us how we are. No, I'm telling you we should be. I think we are to a degree, but I think we should be more. And when I grew up, they were like, don't talk about politics or religion. Well, if you don't talk about things, you can't fix those things, right? So, yeah, trying to belong to a camp is not going to do you well. You want to belong to a camp, do it for things that are like cultural things that don't require you to believe in things which are fallacious. Belong to a camp as much as you want to, as long as it doesn't require you to give up logic and reason, the correct application of those things, right? Don't give up your ability to come to the truth. If belonging to a camp means you have to ignore truth, then don't be part of that camp. Don't be part of any camp, is what I'm saying. Darkthorn, how do you know it's probably a real thing? I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Darth, I need you to refer to exactly what you're talking about so I can respond to it. Because I can't do it that way. And okay, trans, why not use their preferred pronouns? What's the cost to you compared to their benefit? Well, for this response, I'm going to have to refer to Matt Walsh about it's the truth. One angle you can take, it's the truth. I can't, I'm not going to sacrifice the truth to appease an actual trans person's, role playing. Like if they want to role play, is this better? If they want to role play, I'm trying to make my whatever. If they want to role play the opposite gender, I'm not going to. I shouldn't have to. I'm not going to role play with them. I shouldn't have to role play with them. Pronouns are for distinguishing male versus female. That's why they're created, and it's done without that person's input. If they want to pretend they're female, they can do that, but I'm not going to memorize their name and their pronoun. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to do it, first because it's bothersome, second because it's untrue, because if their pronouns other than them being what I see them as, male or female, then the pronoun's incorrect, and I'm not going to be incorrect. I'm going to stay correct. If they have a problem with that, if it hurts their feelings, then they need to see a psychologist or the science department and figure out why pronouns are the way they are. So I'm not going to play along with them. I'm going to go by what shows to be true. And that's the way we should do everything. Dane S. He says he subscribes to me because of my Hebrew Israelites videos. Do you ever encounter them anymore? I encountered them when I was in Los Angeles. I was living in downtown Los Angeles, and they came out there quite often. So I'm not in Los Angeles anymore. I'm not in California. I'm in Florida now. So they're of course not over here. They're a crazy bunch. I like to make fun of them. They can never have a conversation, so I would just wind up yelling back at them. I always try to have a conversation with someone. If they will. Otherwise, if they're not going to listen, I have to yell, and that's what I did with them. So, hey, Ken Games, yes, I am alive. Okay, Darkthorn about trans. Okay, you're saying it's about the trans. I think it could be a real thing because of how much I see them, a man act feminine, and how much they do it, and also because we know homosexuality is a thing where I think it's because of the hormones during gestation that cause some sort of imbalance there, what causes someone to be homosexual or lesbian or however you want to say it. Because I know that that's a real thing, then it makes sense to think that other parts of your brain could not be correct, and they might not sync up to your body, just like homosexuality doesn't. See, homosexuality is not syncing up to what your body, the rest of your body has become, right? That's why you are attracted to the same sex, because that part of your brain didn't switch over correctly, right? The same thing with trans. It seems to make sense that something didn't switch over right. right? Your identity, you're realizing that you're a man, didn't switch over, right? So I can see that it's happening. We don't know that to be true, so I could be wrong. But for sake of covering this topic, I'm going to assume that that's a real thing, right? I mean, it's just part of your brain that's not working as intended, evolutionarily, if that's a word. So that's why. Okay, Vikram Prince, I will read your comment here. He says, you were wrong about role play for trans people. Okay, when I say that, okay, I understand where you're coming from for that. By role play, I mean, okay, I will grant you this. Person who is actually trans is not role playing. I will give you that. If they really are, they really do have some sort of gender dysphoria. They are not role playing. They are doing what their brain is saying they should do because their gender did not sync up to their body, right? Maybe it's during gestation as well, as like it probably is for homosexuals. Did not sync up well, hormones, whatever caused this, they did not sync correctly. Okay, it's not role play, it's them acting. And I agree with you on that. That's fine. But they're trying to tell other people, I am really female. And inside their head, they might really feel like that. Like if they're a man who feels female, they might feel like that. And I agree with you. But they are actually a man. Even if their brain is telling them they're female, they are a man. And we identify them by how they appear, not what they think. Right? That's how pronouns work. We gauge them by how they appear, not how they think. And that's just the way it is. And they're going to have to live with that the rest of their life because we can't fix that yet. Maybe in 100 years or so we'll be able to, but we can't fix that. So, okay, you're right. For them, they're not role playing, but for us, as far as what we see, they're asking us to see them differently, but we can't because they are seen as a man. But to them, in their head, they're a female. So I understand the problem. I understand the discrepancy. But we have to go by what it appears to be, even though they feel differently. I feel for them, but we have to go by what shows to be true, not what they think. That's just the way it is. And that might not sound fair or whatever, but they have to accept that comes along with their disorder. That's just something they have to face, unfortunately. But luckily, it's less than 1% of the population. So, okay, trans. What truth? On one hand, you say there's a real thing. On the other hand, you say they're role playing. Okay, so I think I answered that just now for you, trans, when I responded to Darkthorn. Okay, trans. There is no difference between sex and gender. I see them as both being biological. I know that in your brain you can perhaps have a problem with, like I said, you might feel like you're the opposite gender. I can understand that, and I really wish that there was another word we would use other than gender, because gender has been used for biological sex. I wish they would come up with a new word to refer to that, or just say I have dysphoria. I have gender dysphoria. Maybe that's good enough. They're trying to turn gender into some sort of social thing. They're pushing really hard for it. Language changes. Maybe we'll eventually give them that, and we'll all accept gender as being some sort of social thing. And then but we need to change our forms. All our forms are saying gender, right? When really they're asking for your biological sex, right? So it's kind of mixed up. I see them as the same thing. I just don't. I see the difference. I understand it. I just think we should be using different words. maybe a different word for it. I don't. Oh, Vikram, perhaps I am mixing trans with drag. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm trying to read some more here. Basically, they can transition. No one can transition from a man to a female or a female to a man. You're always going to be whatever you developed as biologically. Let me see here. I think I just got an important email. Hold on. No, not important. All right. No one can transition from one to another. They can try to. Okay, how about this? Physically role play. How about that? I will not engage in physical role play if you think you're the other gender than you are. I know you're not role playing because in your head you actually think you should be a woman, but I will not physically role play with you. Does that make sense? I'm not sure how to put that. Do I think I'm okay? Trans asked me, do you think you're making the world a better place in their lives by refusing to use their preferred pronouns? Yes, because we have to refer to biology correctly. It's important, right? If we did that, we wouldn't have men fighting women in sports or beating them in swimming competitions, right? They wouldn't be competing with women. And we have to use the correct terminology. It's less than 1% of the population. If they have a problem with it, that's what psychologists are for. That's what therapy is for. We don't have a solution yet to fix the problem that they have, the disorder. So they have to, it's one of the things they have to struggle with and get over. You're not going to make the rest of the world conform to your, we don't see what's in your brain. We see what is on the outside. And if it's a man, you're going to be he, him, right? That's just the way it is. And yes, I think the world's a better place by us holding to that. I'm not here to look out for their feelings, right? If someone's offended or someone's not feeling right, that's a personal issue, right? I'm not going on my way to call them names, right? I'm not going on my way to make them feel bad or try to call them, use colorful metaphors about them. I wouldn't do that. Everyone deserves a level of respect, right? When you meet them. So, let's see. Vic, a lot of trans people go through a very hard time. Yes, that's why it is a disorder. And many choose painful sex change operations to make them look the way they feel. Suicide rate is very high there, Vikram. Especially like within 10 years after any type of surgery has happened. They regret it. A lot of them do. It's just horrible. The solution is not to cut yourself up. It's a mental issue. It's a mental disorder. We have to handle it mentally, not physically. Trying to change your body into something is not going to happen because you're just going to come up with a little Frankenstein thing that doesn't work right. Right? And that's not good for anybody. All right, Ken Games, what do you say? Like I see it, gender and sex can be different. With what we see and what is by nature still only man. Yeah, that's correct. Well, gender and sex can be different. Again, I see gender as biological sex, the same thing. I just think if you have dysphoria, you have dysphoria, right? They just identify as the other gender. I don't think we should be calling that gender because gender should still be biological sex. They have dysphoria. I'm a man. If you say you're a man who has gender dysphoria, that means we know that you feel like you're a woman. We shouldn't be saying that your gender is female. No. Your gender is still male. You just have dysphoria. by asking us to acknowledge you as female, we're playing along with your physical role playing. Not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. Am I wrong for that? If it's about their feelings, am I responsible for their feelings? I'm not going out of the way to call them mofos or other stuff. That's just not nice. I like to think of myself as a good person who's not going to do those things. Chance that they can transition to the point where your point about referring to their appearance falls apart, to the point where they'll look like their preferred gender. Okay, trans, it's very, very difficult for a man to look like a woman. Your bone structure, your muscle mass, it's very difficult. It is possible. I've been confused, I've been wrong before, and I referred to them as female. I would use she, her, because I didn't know any better. It happened maybe once or twice, because they did such a good job. But tell you what's happening when I do that. I'm misgendering them. By calling them she or her, that might be what they want, but I am misgendering them. And that's wrong. We should know whether someone is biological male or female. For the things we do in life, it's important. Yeah, I intentionally am not going to use their preferred pronoun. Transitioning. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have your evidence there. I just know that a lot of regret and a lot of people who go through surgery regret it. Right? Especially if it's done when you're a child. I think the American College of, what is it, pediatrics or something? Or I forget what it's called. They said that around 80% of children who have dysphoria grow out of it by the time they're an adolescent. Massey, your question is, it's a possible circumcision can trigger this. Whenever I say circumcision, I really want to talk about male genital mutilation and call it what it is, MGM, because it's a sexual mutilation is what it is. I was sexually mutilated as a baby. I had my foreskin removed. I got that little ring there. I have a device I can probably wear to maybe stretch it more. I haven't been doing it. Your question is, it's possible it can trigger this? I don't think so. I've never. I think that's. I don't see that. I don't see how that could trigger it. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I'm very upset it happened to me. When I compare myself to someone who's intact, and I want male genital mutilation to be banned. Do you know why it's not banned, everybody? Do you know why? Because people make money. Hospitals make money off of your foreskin. They take it. They ask you, "Hey, can we cut your little wee of your son, please?" And they take it, and they go, "Okay, it's done. Here you go." But they keep it and they sell it and they make money out of it. It's used in products. Did you know that? It's very lucrative because these are cells off of a baby that can become, they have a lot more potential than the cells of an adult. So, yeah, we need to ban it because it's taking away pleasure and practicality from someone's tool. We'll say that. I don't know if YouTube's gonna care about the words I use, but it's going to take away functionality as well. Because not only is it sensitivity, it acts as a lubricant. It's like it's good for women. It's great to have your foreskin. It really is. So Vikram, he used to say that homosexuals, they used to say that it is a mental and can be treated. You need to read up on the latest science on trans people. They used to say that same from the homosexuals that it is a mental and can be treated. Okay, Vikram, it cannot be treated. Homosexuality cannot be treated. Neither one of these things cannot be treated. I'm not saying they can be treated. They cannot be treated. We do not have the science to correct them. We don't. It is a mental disorder because it happens in the brain. For both of them, they cannot be treated. you can seek therapy and accept what you are and how difficult life's going to be because of it. That will help you, but it can't really be treated. So if you think that I said that trans and homosexuals, their disorder, can be treated, you're wrong. They cannot. They can only be alleviated to some degree. Acceptance that this is your world now, this is your box that you're in, and that's how you're going to have to live your life, and to cope with as much as well as you can. That's really as far as we can get anybody on either of those two camps. So please don't see me as someone who's I'm very realistic in all my views. And I welcome the input from you guys. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow and your mind was transferred to a woman's body. Would you then start calling yourself a woman? All right, trans. I will take your little analogy. I will consider it. Let's see here. Well, I had the benefit of living as a man all the time, so I would have had the knowledge that I've been a man all these years. So not quite a good analogy, but I would say that my body is a woman now. If I suddenly woke up in the woman's body and I'm a man, like you see in those movies, and if people call me she, her, I would understand why they're doing that, because that's my exterior. I don't expect them to call me he, him, because that's not what I would be portraying externally. And to get upset at people for not calling me what they want them to be when I show something else, it would be on me. It would be my fault for trying to demand that. Like I would think it would be unreasonable to demand that. Darkthorn, I thought I saw all of the quantum leaps. I have them all in my media server. I don't recall that one, but it could be a thing. Massey, agree. I've been using genital cultural cutting culture also. It just talks about systemic pedophilia. Yeah. I don't know. You know what upsets me? There's a wiki page on circumcision that's controlled by pro-circumcision people, and they do all they can to make it look like circumcision is good, and it kind of helps these things when it doesn't help anything. But if you try to edit it or do something like that, they vote it out. There's no way anything that goes against circumcision will ever be on that page, and it's probably funded by people who benefit from circumcision to try to keep that up there, because they want people to be pro-circumcision as much as they can because they benefit from it, monetarily. So it really sucks. We really need to do something more to show that cutting up boys as babies is bad. And all the evidence shows it's bad. It's just people fight for coverage, right? They fight for media coverage, for hits and to reach people. And that's why the circumcision page on the Wikipedia, hey baby, that's why sorry on my kitties here, that's why they fight for that, because a lot of people go there and they read it and and then they make their decision based on that, because people don't do a whole lot of homework, right? So that's why. Read Brendan Merrick's Children's Justice All takes about systemic pedophilia very well. Okay. I will look at that. Okay. I hope I answered all questions. I covered everything. I hope I didn't go off base here with my video. I just, to tie back to the actual point of the video, this whole trans pronouns thing is all new. I'm trying to come at it reasonably and using logic and trying to be as correct and accurate as I possibly can. I'd like to think I'm doing a good enough job of that. Could I be wrong about something? That's possible. But you see, the difference between me and other people who are like religious, like they come with their conclusions and they can't budge. They can't even begin to look at the other side. I'm willing to look at the side. I'm willing to look inside myself and see why I believe in what I do. And it may be difficult on this type of topic of the trans thing, but I'm trying, and I'm willing to look at things at different angles, and I'm willing to change my mind about things if it's reasonable to do so. And I think not enough people are doing that. You know, especially, I seriously think if we got rid of this God stuff, this religious stuff, and replaced it with people using logic and reason, I really think that that would be a big tipping stone on getting people to use in other areas of their life. Because religion is so emotionally attached to people. Now, people don't want to question it because they feel like they're going against their parents' love or things of that nature. And we need to not be afraid to question. I recently dated a girl here who I don't see anymore. I guess I kind of made the mistake of telling about my channel. I probably shouldn't have done that so soon. But her mom is very religious, so she is too. I gave her a book to read. Is she reading it? No, she's not reading it. She's afraid to read it. She's not afraid of books. She's afraid of thinking, right? And we should not be afraid to do that. We should be ready to grasp the truth no matter how much it makes us feel a certain way. Like, you know what you should feel? You know what? I used to ride, when I first ride, I ride an electric unicycle, right? I started riding in like 2016. And I was like, 41 at the time or whatever I was. I haven't learned something new like that in a long time. And it was exciting. And it was cool. And I was learning, it was great. I was learning something new that I would use for a long time. I knew it was. And it was great going through the process. And I went, wow, this is really intriguing. And I get to learn it. And it was very interesting. And it was fun. We should apply that same thing in learning something new that we might be wrong about. I believed in a God. I could be wrong. Let's look at this. Let's read this. Let's try to find out, is this really the truth? I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see, am I wrong about this? I want to be right. I want to make sure I'm right. Let's read this. Let's develop our mind. Let's question our beliefs. You should have this same type of motivation and curiosity, because that's what's going to get you the truth, is having curiosity and being able to challenge yourself and your sacred beliefs. Let's see here. Trump, I think you meant to say Trump there with that J. Trump convinced, I'm reading Massey, your thing. Trump convinced me that at least it's not transphobic to use old language to not call a trans woman a woman. It's not, I'm trying to understand that. Why is my brain having a problem with that? At least it's not transphobic to use old language to not call a trans woman a woman. Old language, you mean not use he, she, her, or he, him? I don't know what you mean. Like old language, like thou? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Tom Jump. What? Tom Jump? Donald Trump? What? I don't have no idea what we're talking about. So yeah, hope you guys like my background here. Look, hey, the Earth's not flat. Who would have known? Yeah, so I would like to do like some videos. I want people to seriously question their beliefs. Everyone needs to question their beliefs. Like, what do you believe in? Why? Have you questioned it? Like, I don't know. old language as not this new kind of thing. Okay. So I don't know, guys. I think I've been talking long enough. I hope I didn't bore the hell out of anybody. But I just want to say that. Oh, sorry, Massey. I figured maybe that was it. Maybe English wasn't your first language. But I don't see myself. I hate the word transphobic because phobic means extreme fear, or homophobic. I don't have extreme fear of everything. I would think people should stop using that. Whatever. I would still say that if gender and sex are different, gender would be what we see. You would have to look like SpongeBob for me to call you SpongeBob, and sex is still nature. Yes. Ken, in order for that to work with me, they would have to really fool me. Like, I would think, by looking at them, if they're a man, I would have to look at them and think they're a female by how they look. By the tons of cake on their face. And how does Sneeko do it? With the eyelashes. Yeah, they'd have to see. They'd have to fool me with all. They would need to wear cake on their face. Like a man trying to look at a woman is not going to do it just by not wearing makeup. They have to wear makeup. So take off all the makeup and we'll see that they're a man. Right? Because what it is, it's fake up, right? I don't even like women that I date to wear makeup. I don't like it. Well, first of all, one of the reasons why I don't like it is because I'm slightly allergic to alcohol-based makeup and perfume. Like my eyes, I don't know what it is. My eyes dry out like that. And I went to see an eye doctor when I was in Los Angeles, and she said it's probably from the alcohol inside of it. Like, I don't know how it happened, but I went on a date once, and I wore some cologne, and it irritated the hell out of me all night, and it was really bad. So I had to buy some really expensive oil-based cologne, and now I can wear something, right? But if I'm like around a girl and I'm hugging her and being close to her and stuff, my eyes, if they're wearing a lot of stuff, my eyes I'll like sense it right away, and like it'll be bad. Why were we talking about that? I don't know why I talked about that. Of course, it's not an ask. It's about what you see. Yeah, it's about what you see. That's what pronouns are for. You know, okay. The officer goes, "How tall are they? How tall was the criminal?" You know, you got to give a height, right? You can't ask them what their height was, right? How old are they? Well, you know, I don't know, officer. I don't know how old they are. I didn't ask them. I don't know how tall they are. I didn't ask them, officer. I mean, I could give you a height that I think it was, but I didn't really ask them. So they could be 2 feet. Maybe they identify as 2 feet, right? Or maybe they identify as a 5-year-old. I don't know. I didn't ask them, officer. I can't give you any kind of description because I never asked them what they identify as. Like, why should we do it for gender but not for anything else? Well, just because they have gender dysphoria, so we should just change how we identify people? No, it's not going to work that way. We need to identify them as they show to be, because that's how we identify people, by how they show to be. That's how we do it. We don't change it because you feel a certain way. We change it in what science says, what biology says. Biology says you're a man externally because you have XY chromosomes, right? That's how we identify you. So that's how it is. We can't. You guys see that? Did you guys see that YouTube video of a guy who says the greatest swimmer of all ever, female swimmer of all? So good, so good. The guy, I regret not having that idea, dude. But I mean, he did it. He hit it off great. The guy's a right winger, and he has views that I think are stupid. Other views which I think are dumb. See, that's why it's bad to have these camps. Like, the dude is hit home, like right wingers hit home on the trans thing, but they fail in other areas. Just like left hits home on other things, like Medicare for all and security for the people, having social democracy in place to help the people in certain situations, but they fail in other areas, right? We should not belong into camp. That means we adopt things that are irrational, you know? That's correct, Ken. Your eyes are there to come up with descriptions and what you see to be true. And we shouldn't change it based on someone feels. Peter, you should check out a guy in Melbourne, Australia who goes by Common Ground Conversations. Does he go about things like I do? Because I'm telling you right now, dude, I watch quite a bit of YouTube. Unless YouTube is serving me up only certain crap, because I do log in YouTube using another browser without being logged in to see different videos being served up. So I like to think I'm not constrained by my login and the algorithms to some degree. But I have not seen anyone talk about things the way I am. Getting to the truth of everything. If we did, we would see an atheist moderate, such as myself. Not right wing, not left wing. He would be moderate, and he would be an atheist. And he would handle everything the way I'm doing it to some degree. Right? Because logic is going to take me to where into the future, not a camp. Not someone's camp. Right? So let me copy that. Copying it. All right. I have it down. I copied it. Common Ground Conversations. We'll see. To people on the street about all these topics from a centrist point of view. That's good. You know, I have university here for now to play with, and I'm wondering if I should do that kind of stuff too, but I don't know. I'll look at how he does it and see if I can mimic it in my own way. Does he? I wonder if he has the same kind of take on things as I do. I mean, granted, he's a centrist, hopefully, but you know, you can be a centrist and believe in stuff that's not true. Have imaginary friends, right? You can believe in a God and still be centrist, right? So, like, my respect for people is based on their ability to have introspection and how well the introspection is. Like, if you don't have a high level of introspection, like, I'll give you a certain amount of respect, but it's going to be down a little bit. Right? And I don't think that's bad. Right? Because you're not doing what you should be doing. Like, why are you out in the world trying to talk to people and you're not even sticking by the facts? All these YouTubers trying to make their videos and they're not spitting out facts in every facet of their life. They're just not doing it. I don't understand. Okay. He's a med student. That's cool. I'll look at his videos because I'm always trying to improve myself. As you can see, I only have 13,000 followers, and I've been that way for like years because I'm not doing anything new or different, which I'm trying to change now. But I'll look at what he's doing. I'll see if I can like mimic it in some way, or not mimic it, but take from it, which will help me based on what I think would be in tune with what I'm trying to accomplish. So, I don't know. We'll see. So another subject, what do you think, Ken says, of free education done over taxes, getting it depending on the skill you show, like healthcare, investing in people? So, another subject, what do you think of free education? Well, we already kind of have free education with public school. I just think public school is crap because it's based on the old way of education, and I think that we need to change the way we educate children, because right now it's based on some, what do they called it? I forget what it's called now, but it's like, it's based on the factory type. It's based on how well we can get people to work in a factory, right? Something like that, Rockefeller or something. Like, I forget what it was called, but I think we need to do a better way of. I mean, have you heard the stories of teachers trying to teach children how to use critical thinking, how to not believe in stuff unless you know it to be true, and using critical thinking. And then the stories of parents come back, hey, you did this? Now my kid's questioning me about religion and this. You need to stop doing this. So they have to stop teaching children how to think correctly because parents are upset. So you go back to the vanilla, not really teaching your kid very much stuff. I don't see the purpose of school if you can't teach children how to think properly. Like, I don't know. So I think we need to improve our education, and I think when it's time for children to go into a specialized field, they'll be better off due to the better education. So we need to totally revamp how we're teaching children now. But to answer your question, how do I feel about it? I think it's very important to do free education for people who sign up for a certain field because it interests them. I think we should have tests and things in place to where people can look at exactly what the life is like of a certain person doing a certain field so they can see, is this something that I want to do? Is this something that I'm really passionate about? And then once they know that answer, then we give them a full ride to become that person. So yes, I'm all for that. I'm all for that type of education based on taxes. Just like I'm all for men not paying child support, and if a woman decides to pop out some kids, welfare is going to have her back because we shouldn't destroy a man's life for a child he never wanted. So yeah, I'm all for that. So yeah, hope I answered your questions. Kids need to be taught how to think and not what. Yes, and that's what it is. What are you doing in these schools? You're regurgitating information, and that might be good in some way, but it's not. You don't actively engage in children. I had a girl I was talking to last night ask me, what's the best way to get children to learn? She asked me that. She's a teacher, and she asked me that. I felt very honored that she asked me that. I don't know why she asked me that, maybe because of my age or something, but we were on the phone and she asked me that, and I told her because I know how to engage children. I know how to go about doing that, and I gave her my response to that, and I'm surprised she asked me that, but I contributed it because I know better, because I was a child, and I'm very passionate about teaching children correctly and how to teach them correctly. So yeah, they need to be taught how to think. I'm not big on when you ask a question, ask questions back to get them to thinking. I don't think that's really the best way of doing that. People try to do that with me at work before in my previous jobs when I didn't know stuff and it just upset me. I think engaging them to some degree, and sure, asking the question to help them think, but lead them there in some way, engage them, not just in questions, but in other ways, I think is very useful for kids. And I think what makes a good boss at work is someone who's good with children. Like, I've had bosses at work. Like, I had this one lady, I worked in the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and I forget her name, Rhonda. Really bad. Really, really horrible manager. She felt that she had to yell because she feels like she needs to in order to be, I don't know, maybe she felt she needed to in order to be as good as men. She's really bad manager. But then when I saw one or two of her family members come, I can see that she was not very well liked. Like, she was not a very good family member. Like, the way she treats children is reflective of how she treats us at work. If you're good at teaching children, you're a good boss at work. Because although the people at work are not children, the same techniques follow. You don't talk to them like children, obviously, but that's the only thing that's different. You talk to them like adults, but you engage them like you would a child. You don't treat them like children. You engage them like you would a child, because they're still people. They're just people who are not children anymore, but they're still around. How can I say? They're still children, but they're older, which is kind of bad to say. But the same techniques we use to give them good teaching as a child are are still ready to be received when they're older and at that job. And I think people don't understand that. They don't understand that those two things are linked. So if they're a bad parent, they're a bad manager. And you can bet you, anytime you meet a manager who sucks balls, you can bet his kids hate him. Or they think he's a sucky, full of balls father. Ball-sucking father. That's correct. I'm so right on that. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I remember my daughter, Peter, I remember my daughter dropped out of religious education class because she was hoping she would learn all about religions and their history, but instead it was just Bible bashing. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm really against religion, so I think you can teach things about the Bible without saying they're true. You can talk about what people used to believe in and why, and how the Bible is reflected of that in certain things. But if you're going to do that, you need to do that about slavery as well. Talk about Exodus 21, how they used that to support slavery and things of that nature. Because a lot of religious people don't like to acknowledge that fact. So, yeah, I'm big on teaching children and helping them grow. And I know that if I ever have kids, that I'm going to be a great father. I have a brother, he's like 4.5 years older than me. He's got like at least 6 kids with 5 different women. Like, he's not married, which is understandable. I think marriage is stupid. But he was once to some fat girl here in Gainesville. But he I think he's involved in like 1 or 2 of his kids' life right now, but he doesn't really have much of a career. He has all these kids, and those are only the kids we know about. I've never been married. I don't think I have any children. But if I ever do have kids and I am part of their life, I'm going to do a badass job. That's for sure. So, yeah. Any other topics you guys want me to cover? Because I think I covered quite a bit there. I can wrap up, I guess. I think like just my message here is just, I don't care what you believe. Is what you believe true? Can you write it down on a piece of paper? This is what I believe, and this is why I believe it. Can you do that with everything? And can what you write down, is it realistic? Is it free from woo-woo, from pseudoscience? Is it free from BS? That's important. That's what I want to see mankind do. I wish I could reach everyone and get them to realize that that is important. Because it is. All right, Peter. Well, I'm going to go to... It's almost 12. What I'm going to do is... I have the day off. So I'm going to go down to campus and see if I can find anything to cover. We'll see what I can do. Have some lunch. See if I can get something. I got like 5-10 minutes from some preacher who was on campus yesterday, but I've already interviewed him before, so he wasn't really... I didn't really get much material, so I don't think I'm going to post it. But yeah, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed my conversation here. I'm not sure if I expressed myself well enough. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want the truth about everything, and I'm ready to be wrong about anything in order to achieve that truth. I wish more people like that. I'm tired of seeing so many stupid people in the world who don't do anything to improve themselves, don't do anything to find out why they're wrong. I see channels like Sneako's channel where he really wants to talk about the truth and stuff like that, but he's not doing much to improve the areas that he might be wrong about. Probably because no one's calling him out on it, right? I don't know why my nose is itchy. What is your take on Charles asked me, what is your take on the black community's love of Christianity? I don't know, man. I really don't see how black people can really like the Bible. it condones slavery. It was used to condone slavery. Exodus 21 shows that. It's just, I don't know. Maybe they didn't have much hope, and since there wasn't any group of people back then who could post stuff on YouTube and become inspirational, they just dug into the Bible and tried to, because you can interpret it any which way you want to, right? You could take stuff from the Bible and be like, hey, this really means this means that. It's so open to interpretation. So they just don't read the bad parts. They stick to the that could lead them to certain things. But even Exodus 21, people try to say, oh, it's indentured servitude. No, it's slavery. It's in there. It shows slavery if you read it. It's not indentured servitude. So, but people try to interpret things or reinterpret things to try to, make it something that they can agree with, they can get behind. So, yeah, I think, so I'm not sure. That's a very vague question you asked about, why is my nose itching? A very vague question you asked about black community love Christianity. I just think it's part of their culture to somewhat. Hopefully they'll get out of it. Atheists are growing more and more. We're becoming more and more atheistic as a populace here on Earth, especially here in America. Atheists are growing. A lot of us are remaining atheists. A lot of us are returning to atheism because we're all born atheists. Everyone, even you, anyone who's watching this, you were born an atheist because babies are born without belief. We're not capable of belief, right? So we have to be brainwashed or indoctrinated into believing in stuff that's not there, right? And it's something we have to purge from ourselves. We need to purge these. We need to recognize their sacred beliefs and purge them from within us, because we can only go forward by getting rid of the old and nonsensical stuff that's harboring inside of our brain. And you can only do that by looking at yourself and seriously asking yourself, how can I get rid of my bad beliefs? All right, well, I don't know how long I've been talking for, but it's like almost lunchtime. I only eat twice a day, around noon and around 1800 hours. My scale in my bathroom was broken for like quite a few months, so I didn't charge it, but I finally went and charged it a couple months ago, and I found out I was at 209. 209. And I should be between 2 and 205. So now I'm between 2 and 205. I'm very happy for that. I will never be fat. I think my heaviest, I was 219 when I first moved to California from Texas. Only because when I was living in Texas for 3 years, there was a really good cook in the house, and I just ate everything. But that's when I turned my 30s. And once you hit your 30s, guys, your metabolism slows down. You gotta be careful, right? Dude, you guys don't know how old I am. I don't know if you know how old I am, but I'm older than you think I am. But I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've never been drunk or high. I'm contemplating doing DMT once. Like maybe some 5-MeO DMT. If I can find a place where I can do it, because it's like illegal for some screwed up reason. So I would be willing to do that once, because I think I would benefit from a different outlook on life, because it really alters your outlook on life. And because of the way I grew up and things of that nature, I'm vastly improved from what I used to be. But I think that having a good, because once in a while I'll get a whiff of a good worldview that I might have had when I was younger, or what I should have now, but it's fleeting, right? A very good positive outlook in life. So I think experiencing that once would probably help me, just once, because that's all. Sam Harris even suggests it, right? He suggests you do it once every 30 years. So I just need to do it once, and I think it would help improve my worldview and make me more tolerant of people's BS, I think. So that's something I'm considering. So that's it. I just wanted to make the video to let people know that we need to see more introspection in everybody, and that's what we're missing today. And I don't care how popular of a YouTube video maker you are, chances are you don't have good introspection. If you're not a moderate, if you're not an atheist, those two things right there tell me that you do not have enough introspection, self-introspection. You need to be those two things. Not because I am, but because logic says you should be. Right? And I'm willing to debate that, or argue that with anybody. Could I be wrong? I don't see how. But I'm willing to listen and argue and debate. And that's something that everyone should be willing to do in anything. Right? Except the earth is round. We kind of know that. So all you flat earthers out there can lick my balls. Alright? That's it. Peace. Peace. Logic. Right? Like that? Alright, cool.